Welcome back to Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Online Trading Academy, talking about the do's and the don'ts of the financial markets. When we talk about the financial markets, that is the stock market. Everybody knows that. Everybody talks about that. That's what you see on TV and on the interweb. We also get into different techniques and concepts with the futures market, the Forex market, which would be more income strategies. The options market is what a lot of people are looking at for 401k and IRA strategies. So we're going to get into that in the next few segments here. But we did have a lot of people texting into this free investing class on the last segment. Congratulations to those of you that did that. If you did miss free seats for this investing class that we do locally here in Bloomington, just text the word investing to the number 210-210. That's text investing to the number 210-210 for 2 seats. When you text that number in, and I'm going to say that keyword in, you're going to receive an automated text back that has a couple different days for that class. Now, pick that day when you get that text back, and then we'll make sure we get the right day for you. We'll get a call for you as well with one of our representatives. Make sure we get the right day and time that works on your schedule. We do these classes during the week. We also have them on the weekend and even in the evenings, so that way pretty much anybody can attend. Really, there's nothing holding you back to reach your financial goals. But the first thing you got to do is take a little bit of action. Text the word investing to the number 210-210 for 2 seats for that free investing class. So in that last segment, we're talking about, that you need a little bit of knowledge in the financial markets, but you have to be able to transfer that into a skill to actually be able to make the right decisions in the stock market, whatever that you're trading. And that's what we do here at Online Trading Academy. We train people how to trade and invest, start with the knowledge, and then how to transfer that into skill to actually be able to do that. It's really hard to find that, Al. There's not a lot of things out there to train you how to trade and invest. There's a lot of information, but as I kicked off the show, it's all designed, in my opinion, to confuse you. A lot of things that they're saying, up, down, sideways, bulls, bears, hawkish, dovish. There's terms out there that's designed to train you to be afraid of it. Even if you watch TV, if there's things going on and they want you to have fear, there's going to be a lot of red in that scene. Red ties, red suits that the ladies are wearing, the red dresses, red in the background. And that's going to be designed to train you to feel afraid and then give your money to a stranger. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later here about that. Now, you kind of got into similar traits that you need to be successful in the financial markets. And then you, in your mind, you have 3. Mm-hmm. I also have 3, but they're very similar. So you mentioned patient being one of them. You have to be patient with the financial markets. You can't just run out there and say, oh, I'm going to go buy this and buy that. I was actually on a plane the other day and coming back from Florida. And I was talking to a gentleman next to me, and we always talk about what you do and, for whatever. And I said I was in the financial markets. Hey, what's the stock market going to do? What are you going to do with the stock market right now? I said nothing. But I'll tell you what, when it gets to this price, I know what I'll do then. Yep. So that's why you want to be patient in the financial markets. Let the price come to you where you're interested, just like anything you buy and sell in the market. Yep. So you talked about those traits to success. I want you to elaborate a little bit more on what you really need to be successful in the financial markets.
Yeah, well, being patient, as you mentioned, is waiting for price to come to you. And what we mean by that is that there's going to be a point at which an entry into a position will give you the lowest risk entry with the highest probability of it working with the highest profit potential. We talk about those things almost every week. That's what a quality trade is. But how do you identify that? That's where not only the education comes in, but it's the skill to use the education. You mentioned before, you can get knowledge, you can get the education all over the place, but you have to know when to use it, how to use it, why to use it, when not to use something. And those are all parts of being patient. It's identifying the right scenario. And to be honest with you, it's simple. It's not as complicated as people make it. As human beings, we seem to have a tendency to always want to make things more complicated. And think about it. What we do, I'm going to call it a copycat scenario or copycat strategy. If there are people out there that are successful, why would you want to try to do something different than the people that already have shown you how to be successful?
It's kind of like rowing upstream in a river.
Right, or swimming upstream in the river.
You have to go with the flow, go with the current, trade like the institutions, not against them.
Right. Yeah. So you just copy the people that are successful. That's what we do. We show you how to identify where those successful people are entering a position, where they're exiting a position. So being patient is one of the things that's important, but then also discipline, having the discipline to follow a set of rules. Because one of the things that is the most harmful to a investor or a trader is letting their emotions get involved. If you want to be successful, you have to control those emotions and then control risk. The emotions are controlled by following a set of rules, a step-by-step process that we've developed. That's our investment strategy. That's our core strategy. And think about it. If you're just letting other people tell you what to do, and by the way, let me get back to what you said about watching people on TV or listening to the pundits out there. Just listen to a show one day. Take one day and listen to a full day's worth of information. You are never going to find two or more people that agree on the same thing. There's always differing opinions, and remember, those are opinions. That's one of the things that we want to cut out of your investment style is, well, I call it fluff. It's all that the guessing and the opinions that are out there. Concentrate on what factually will move the price of something, whether it's going to go up or down. And by the way, you can benefit either way, whether it's going up or down. But have the discipline to follow a set of rules that will show you how to just use what's factually important.
Yeah, another thing you can do if you're suffering from insomnia, it can either put you to sleep because it's so boring, or if you want to get mad, watch the TV.
Well, exactly. Yeah, and again, when you're listening to someone's opinion, that's just their guess as to what's going to happen.
Yep. So what's that third trait that you have?
Well, it's having the confidence, developing confidence, and you do that by following a strategy that has been proven to work, and then just sticking with that strategy. Use something that will give you the ability to be consistent in your trading or investing. Once you do that, once you've developed that strategy, you use the skills to use the education that you have been exposed to, and you do that in a way that you can be consistent in your returns. It doesn't have to be a lot. In fact, don't even think about the profit that you're going to make initially. Just think about following the process so on a repeatable basis, you're doing well. Then you can scale up. It's a very scalable thing, but you have to have the confidence in knowing that the strategy that you're using is working. But then probably the most important part of any trade or investment is the risk management part of it.
Yep.
And any one of those successful traders will tell you that's the most important thing to them is controlling losses and making sure that you always know what the worst case scenario is before you get into a position. Then you can control that.
Exactly. Just to go a little bit further, I mean, you also need to be coachable, willing to learn, because some people aren't willing to learn. That's one thing we can't teach is being coachable.
Yep.
But if you feel like you're coachable, if you want to learn this, well, go to a place that's been around for 25 years. Go to a place that's been in the markets and training people just like you how to trade and invest for 25 years. But you're also going to need a little bit of discipline, like Al said, and then you need to be decisive. So once you have that discipline, that will help you be decisive. Once you have that plan, as Al was talking about, it will help you be decisive with confidence. And that's what we train and teach here at Online Trading Academy. If you're looking for some of those traits or skills, call in or text in for one of these free investing classes and see what it's all about. I mean, the great thing about these classes is they're free, for one, but also you have the opportunity to make your own decision if this makes sense for you. Text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats for this class. Text investing to the number 210 for 2 seats for a free investing class locally here in Bloomington. Now, Al, I know you wanted to talk about something, we've been talking about the TV and stuff like that, well, all that garbage that's out there. And there was an article on Market Watch this past week, April 4th, and here's the title of it. Investors are mad as hell at let me start that over.
Let's do that.
Investors are mad as hell at advisors. And it's not just market performance that's to blame. I want you to elaborate what this article was talking about.
Yeah, it was an article that covered a survey by J.D. Power. J.D. Power is a company that does analysis of all sorts of things, even like cars. What's the best car that has the least the least amount of issues. Well, they did that in the financial market too, and they found that the clients are dissatisfied with the advice and consideration they're getting from their financial advisors. And it's not just the performance. That was part of it, because a lot of people that had advisors lost money in 2022, but they're concerned that they're not getting the right kind of advice. And over 32% of the people that they surveyed said that they think their advisor is not working in their best interest. So people are concerned. And a lot of our students, one of the goals they have is just learning enough so they can at least have a conversation with an advisor, and they have a better understanding of whether whatever the advisor is telling them or recommending that they do, is that really in their best interest? But you have to know what those things are. You have to understand what the investments are, understand why a particular investment might be good or might be not good for you at a particular time. But that's one of the things that when we teach these classes, we don't have a bias as to what we teach people. We just show them how the markets function, what the benefits are, the potential benefits, and how you can take advantage of those. And it's again, it's I mentioned in that first segment, you have to be selective in this kind of market. And that's not just the individual company that you're looking at investing in, it's the asset that you're using. They're different assets. It's not just the stock market. I think you mentioned futures in the foreign exchange market in that first segment. Those are assets, and the options market. Those are assets that you can trade. You're probably not getting much education on that. But your advisor, if you're concerned about the lack of advice you're getting and the lack of the quality advice you're getting, why not learn a little bit more about the market so you can understand and maybe even guide your advisor on what to do? And here's the other thing to consider. I think a lot of the concerns or issues are a lot of the advisors that are in the market have never gone through a real bear market. They have never gone through a situation like I mentioned with the currency issue and what's going to happen to the value of the dollar, what's going to happen to how we structure things financially in the future. If your advisor wasn't in this industry maybe back in the early 2000s or the late 1990s, they probably haven't gone through these kinds of situations. And being able to give you the right advice is pretty hard to do unless they have that experience. But we'll show you how you can take advantage of the different market conditions. And we actually have some students that advise their advisors. They don't want to make the investments themselves. I don't know if they have an aversion to using computers. We've got a couple of these guys that are in their late 70s or 80s. They just tell their advisor what to invest in. So just having the ability to understand more what an advisor is doing or recommending to you is really valuable.
Yeah, and just another thing to note about this article, and this is something to really think about because people are being persuaded to do certain things. And here was the heading, Industry Disconnect. The dissatisfaction noted in this survey is something that the overall industry doesn't often admit to because most studies, now here's the key, most studies paid for by the brokerage firms themselves focus on the positives of financial services and on how effective financial advice can be.
Yeah.
Think about that for a second.
Paid surveys.
The articles that are being put out there are paid for by the industry, persuading you to do certain things according to this article. And that's something to really think about because being able to make your own decisions based off of your goals, your things that you want to accomplish, your objectives, you can't beat that. And that's why we train people just like you how to do it yourself. It's not rocket scientists. You just haven't been taught.
Yep.
And we have these free investing classes to introduce you to these techniques and concepts that we're talking about. We talk about how the market works. What we pull back the curtain. It's a 2-hour class to be able to go through all this stuff. That way you can make your own decision on what you want to do moving forward. So it's really easy to come into one of these classes. Text the word investing to the number 210 for 2 seats for a free investing class. It's about 2 hours long locally here in Bloomington. Text the word investing to the number 210. We also have classes in Maple Grove and in Woodbury. So if you are living in those areas, text investing to the number 210 for 2 seats. Al, coming up next, we still haven't talked about our stock picks of the week that we talk about. I want to get back into NVIDIA that we talked about, I believe it was about 3 weeks ago. We're going to get into that. WWE, but also silver coming up next. This is Josh and Al, Investing and Trading Live. We'll be right back.